What if I told you that property crashes are always predictable? Not the exact day or the month, but the conditions are always similar. I've helped hundreds of investors build profitable portfolios, and the same question always comes up. How do I know when the market's going to crash? So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 warning signs to look out for before a property crash and what you can do to profit from it. To start, let me show you the first thing that changes in the market, and once you see it, you never get caught out. So there was a period in the UK where a lot of people were buying property in a way that, looking back, should have raised a few eyebrows. In the early to mid 2000s, especially in London and the southeast, the property market felt unstoppable. Prices were rising year after year, confidence was high, and buying a property felt like the smartest move you could make. And because things were going so well, all of a sudden conversations weren't about yields or margins, they were about where prices would be in 5 years' time. It slowly became the norm, and more people became greedy. They started buying blindly, thinking that just like the others, their house prices would go through the roof as well. No one thought they were taking a risk. In fact, they thought they were being smart. But when lending tightened in 2007 to 2008, things started to change. Buyers could no longer stretch the same way, the demand dropped, and as fewer people could afford to buy, prices had no choice but to adjust. Here's what that period teaches us. The problem didn't start when prices fell. It started much earlier, when people stopped buying property based on numbers and started to buying based on hope. Hope that prices would keep rising. Hope that the future market would do the heavy lifting. But in 2008, that hope disappeared. So when people start buying on hope instead of numbers, what should you actually do? Warren Buffett, the most successful investor of all time, worth over 120 billion, God knows it's crazy. He's invested through multiple market crashes, and his advice has never changed. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. In property, that means you don't just stretch because everyone else is. You only buy deals that work today without relying on growth or refinancing to save you, doing the opposite of what the greedy buyers did. And when those greedy buyers get into trouble and need to sell quickly, that's when disciplined investors, they step in and pick up real discounts, exactly what Warren Buffett has done for decades. Next, let me show you the warning sign that usually follows this and why it catches people out even when prices look fine. So there was a point in the UK when the hardest part wasn't getting a mortgage but deciding how much to borrow, and most people borrowed as much as they could. Before the 2008 crash, debt in the UK became super cheap and accessible to pretty much anyone. You had 100% mortgages, very loose affordability checks. As long as you had a pulse, you could get a mortgage. And because prices were rising, it didn't feel risky. Most people assumed, I'll refinance later, the property will cover it, and we all know what happened in 2008. The market crashed. And this wasn't the first time the UK had seen something like this. In the 1970s, buyers stretched themselves, assuming that interest rates wouldn't rise, but when they started to go up all the way up to 17% in the 1980s, this caused a huge decline in property values. Different decades, different products, but the same behavior. But here's the thing, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Whenever cheap debt becomes more accessible, more people get involved, they think it's going to last forever, and that's when the trouble starts. So what's the actual lesson from all of this? Historically, mortgage rates average around 5.75%, and at the time of recording this, we're roughly at 3.5 to 4%. So right now, interest rates aren't ultra cheap, but they're not expensive either. And you'd like to think we've learned a lesson, and to be fair, in many ways we have. That's why today's most lenders cap borrowing at around 75% loan to value, meaning bigger deposits, more buffer, and less reliance on hope. Back in the 80s and before 2008, the cheapest rates were available to almost everyone. But here's what you need to pay attention to. I have noticed that some 100% mortgages are starting to reappear. They're still very limited, so this isn't 2007 all over again. But think of it as a signal, not a siren. If those products stay niche, that's absolutely fine. But if they become common, easier to access, and more aggressively marketed, that's when you have to become wary. Because remember, property crashes don't start with falling prices. They start when borrowing becomes so easy that people forget why limits existed in the first place. Next, let me show you what starts to shift in the market before prices react and why spotting it early gives you an advantage. So think about rush hour traffic, right? When a road starts getting busy, it doesn't suddenly turn into a traffic jam. What happens is more cars start coming on the road and they start slowing down bit by bit. The pressure starts to build and then we have a traffic jam. The property market works the same way. If you want a real example of this, look at what happened after 2016. Section 24 began phasing in. Stamp duty increased for investors. Compliance and running costs were starting to go up. And at first, landlords didn't rush to sell. Most tried to hold on and absorb the changes. But slowly, the numbers tightened. And over time, landlords began to sell quietly. One here, another there. More properties started coming onto the market. That gave buyers more choice. The urgency dropped. Prices didn't crash, but they stalled because supply increased before prices reacted. And we've got the data to back this up. UK house prices, they were still growing strongly in 2016, but by 2018, annual growth had slowed down to just 2.5%, the weakest since 2013. That's the traffic jam forming. More cars joining the road, everything slows down. And that's how UK property market usually turns, with supply slowly of properties increasing before the prices react. So how do you actually tell if supply is increasing? First, jump on Rightmove or Zoopla and look at what's actually happening locally. If you're seeing more properties listed but not many going under offer, that's your first clue. Second thing is to pay attention to how long homes have been sitting there. When listings hang around longer than they used to, urgency is dropping even if prices haven't moved yet. And third, watch for price reductions, not massive cuts, just lots of little reduced tags popping up. That's sellers adjusting because there's more competition. So before you wait for headlines about falling prices, just check your local supply so you can get ready to negotiate. So for the next one, let me show you the early warning sign that shows up before prices move and why spotting it early helps you avoid most mistakes. So let's come up with the story here because I think it'll help you understand the point I'm trying to make. Let's say we've got an investor called Joe, right? I like the name Joe. So Joe, he's mid-40s. He owns a couple of buy-to-lets. He bought them quite a few years ago, but at that time, property just felt steady and sensible. He's not flipping properties. He's not doing HMOs. He just wants something simple. Standard buy-to-let, something long-term. But around 2016, things start to feel tighter. The rent doesn't really go up by much, but the costs do. His bank statements start to look slightly different. There's more paperwork and nothing's really gone wrong. It just doesn't feel as good as before. And at first, our friend Joe tells himself, it's only temporary. I'll be fine. It'll be okay. But then over the couple of years, the pressure starts to build. Section 24 comes in, making things less profitable for private landlords. Higher stamp duty makes new deals more expensive. So he doesn't panic. Joe doesn't rush anything. He waits, but slowly and slowly, month after month, the profit margins just seem to get less and less. And this isn't just Joe. This is exactly what happened between 2016 and 2019, especially in buy-to-let heavy areas. There wasn't a crash, there were no headlines, but landlords quietly and slowly started to sell up. And it wasn't because of panic, but it was because the numbers stopped working. So here's the thing to always remember. Prices usually don't fall first. Cash flow does. When cash flow starts suffering, your profits suffer. And that's when prices eventually suffer too. So what do you actually do with this? You don't watch prices first. You watch cash flow. If rents stop rising, but costs keep creeping up, that's your early warning sign. Before you buy anything, ask yourself one simple question. If nothing improves for the next few years, does this still work? If the answer is no, it's not a deal. You're just relying on hope. And if you're already holding property, this is your checkpoint. Because when cash flow starts getting tight, some landlords will hold on, but plenty of others will start selling. And that's usually where the real opportunities begin. So now you know what signs to look out for before a property crash. And if you've got some money saved up, say £50,000 or more, and you're looking to get started, I've made a video breaking down exactly how I'd invest £50,000 step by step to buy multiple properties with it. That's the video you want to watch, so I'll see you over there.